This is a Hot Pie Original.
What's wrong with Ted Cruz, and why is he acting like Donald Trump? You may not be fascinated by him and what he's doing now, but hopefully I can make you fascinated by what Ted Cruz, Rafael Cruz, is doing right now in the path that he is on, because I can't quite figure out the strategy, but it's pretty remarkable. And I can't understand in the end how this is going to work. First, let's be clear for those that don't know how this works. His real name is Rafael. And if you can't figure out why he would use Ted, then you don't understand the state that he is in, nor do you understand the audience he's pandering to. That's why he's Ted and not Rafael. So when you hear me say Rafael Cruz, just know that, well, that's his real name. I want to start, and I think I end up doing this fairly often when Ted Cruz comes up. But I think this is the perfect example of my dodgeball analogy with Ted Cruz. So let's go back in time when it was legal to play dodgeball. Right now, you would probably get tased and put in jail if you played dodgeball. But let's go back in time for a lot of us when we played dodgeball. And I think you'll see how this works pretty well with Ted Cruz. Ted, in the dodgeball analogy, Ted was the pasty white chubby kid with no athletic ability. He had none whatsoever, but he liked to talk trash and act tough. He's the first kid you would hit every time. Sometimes it's not cool. Remember the sort of the street rules of dodgeball. You wouldn't hit him in the face, but Ted's the kid you would hit in the face and feel pretty good about it. Ted's that kid. You knock him out right away. He's the kid, and we all remember this kid. If it were legal today, there'd still be that kid, and it would be little Ted. Ted is the guy you knocked out right away, but he would still talk trash and act tough. You hit him in the face, you knock him out right away. He's the kid that would whine to the PE teacher that you didn't really hit him. Every single time, every day that you play dodgeball, and you hit Ted Cruz right away, right at the start of the game. I mean, like 5 of those red balls hit him right in the face. He would talk trash and act like it didn't happen. He's that kid. Got it? You got the analogy? If you go back in time to dodgeball, and maybe you were that kid, and that's kind of a tough thing. It's tough to overcome, but you didn't talk trash. You didn't suck at the game and talk trash. So use that dodgeball analogy when you start to break down what it is that Ted Cruz is now doing on social media, because it's a remarkable effort. I don't get it. Why? I really honestly don't understand what he's doing and why he's acting like this and what this is really going to do for him in the name of self-preservation alone. And I realize there are political animals, and then there's a political animal named Rafael Cruz. He is a whole another level of sellout, right? The man is obsessed with being in politics and winning in politics. He is obsessed with becoming president one day, and it's not going to happen. And ask yourself right now, if all this man lives to do is to become president one day, ask yourself, is this really working for him? Because I find it hard to believe. In fact, it just seems to be getting further and further away from him. But it's fun to watch. It's fun to play out. So what is he doing? Think about the past year for Rafael Cruz to fully appreciate his bizarre marketing strategy, his own promotional strategy. I don't know anyone anywhere that would sit down with you and say, you know, the path to the presidency. I know it worked for that D. Trump guy, but he's a little different than you, Ted. The path to the presidency is acting like a jackass every day on social media. That's how you're going to get there, boss. I can't imagine somebody saying that. The best that I can tell is that his strategy is to be everywhere on social media. He makes a high school freshman look tame now on social media. He's addicted or strategically addicted to social media. No matter how stupid he looks or sounds, just argue. Just argue on social media every day. It seems to me the plan is to talk trash via Twitter with no regard for how it makes him look. which is also a big storyline by itself because the look is not very good. It's not been a very good-looking year for Ted Cruz, but he doesn't care. Let's go to post-Cancun trip debacle. Let's think about that for a second. Just put it in perspective because I think in some bizarre way that unmasking, that train wreck of a trip to Cancun and how he answered for it led him to this bizarre place where he thinks, I'm just going to keep talking trash. I'm just going to be a jackass on Twitter. Okay, so the worst disaster of our lifetime hits the state of Texas. It is I'm not even going to use the term perfect storm. It is a colossal failure at so many levels. People died. It was a $130 billion disaster. And a lot of the disaster was politically, on both sides of the aisle, by the way, politically self-inflicted. We didn't upgrade the power grid. We were told the process of the power grid was going to drive our rates down. It was a gigantic lie, start to finish, and people suffered miserably. It was horrible. Everybody now knows Ted Cruz decided midweek during the week of this disaster to load up with the kids, get a police escort, and head to Cancun. You know, in a weird way, I thought, well, kids want to get out of here, get out of here. Okay, if you can do it, you can do it. But then his explanation where he threw his wife under the bus, the kids under the bus, he did that usual Ted Cruz thing. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care how it feels. I'm going to find my way out of this because all I care about is being president. So post-Cancun debacle, logic would tell you, I need to lay low. I need to get out of here for a while. I need to let this thing pass. And he did just the opposite. It's as if that embarrassing public display made him want to do it more. Again, he runs to the line. It's as if, to use the dodgeball analogy, he just kept coming up to that line and you kept hitting him in the face. And he liked it. I'm going to keep hitting you, kid, right in the face. And he's going to laugh at you. And you hit him in the face again. So what's he doing and why? That moment when he's usually when you become a joke, a nighttime joke, an SNL joke, it's the end of you. I'll use a perfect example of becoming an SNL joke, ruining your political future. Rick Pointy Boots Perry. Rick Perry was governor of Texas. Kind of a doofus, but we didn't know he was a doofus until he ran for president. But when he ran for president, he became a doofus. He became a joke. He became a punchline. And once he became a punchline, it was over. Ted Cruz becomes a punchline and he just keeps coming back. It may work for him. I don't know how or why. I don't think it will because I don't think people like him. And I think every time that he goes to Twitter, you like him less, but it's not going to stop him. He's just going to keep coming and keep coming. And that red ball is going to hit him in the face over and over again. He will not shut up on social media. It doesn't matter how bad he looks. It doesn't matter. He doesn't seem to care. He has this bizarre strategy now. And yep, there are plenty of examples. This bizarre strategy now of, I don't care how crazy I sound. I don't care how ridiculous. I don't care who I fight with. I'm just going to keep coming. I'm going to act like D. Trump on crack, which is hard to do, right? I mean, he's not stupid. Donald Trump's a doofus. And in some weird way, it works for him. For Ted Cruz to laugh about woke people is pretty laughable because he's had nothing but elite private school educations his whole life. He's not a dumb guy. He's just now acting dumb on social media, which is seemingly a train wreck. So here we go. First example. I mean, just to prove my point that this is a bizarre strategy. I mean, a just weird strategy. He fights with Seth Rogen all the time on Twitter. I don't know if you know this or not, but they just talk trash back and forth. Am I becoming addicted to Ted Cruz acting like a jackass on Twitter? Yeah, kind of. But that doesn't mean it's going to help you become president. I don't get that. He fights all the time with Seth Rogen on Twitter, who drops F-bombs on him. Then he comes back with these comebacks, and he just keeps fighting more. Now, you correct me if I'm wrong on this, but he wants to act like a tough guy, and he seemingly wants to take on the woke world. but he comes off as a punk talking trash for no reason. Remember the dodgeball thing? He's that guy on social media. This whole thing with him acting tough or trying to act tough, and it never seems to work. There's nobody in a room full of people, and you do a focus group, ask anybody, is Ted Cruz tough? And they're going to laugh out loud. Hey, I'm here with John McCloud. I'm the creator and founder of ATX Hot Sauce. And when I say that you started this, maybe not screwing around in your kitchen, but maybe not that far removed from screwing around in your kitchen. So talk about the creation, the process, the dream that came out of the pandemic.
It's from Austin, from Texas. There's not a lot of hot sauces out there that are actually from here. There's a few great ones too. But, Frank's and Tabasco and some of these other ones, I want something that's Texan like me. It's different. And I think that's what Texas is a little bit about. That's what Austin's about. So that flavor first, without the vinegar, and then going into the heat after that, but not a blow your head off heat. If you notice, a lot of the hot sauces out there that you see are like Da Bomb or Death's Door, right? Yeah. And they're just supposed to blow your head off when you do it, when you taste it. Well, that's not the kind of hot sauce that I'm making. I'm making a hot sauce for the everyday person, for the condiment for every single day. And that's why the flavor first, heat second is so important, that you get those flavors, the nuances, whatever food that you're making.
All right, order a box now. It's atxhotsauce.com, atxhotsauce.com. He can't even get away from the early days of Donald Trump ripping him. I mean, daily ripping him, to the point that you almost felt sorry for Ted Cruz. Thought, man, that is not okay. Calling your wife dog face is a little low, even by Trump standards. And actually, he could have had some sympathy. So let's go back in time I'm going to walk you through what Ted Cruz is doing on social media now. And I don't care if it's Ted Cruz or anybody else. It seems like a mess. It seems like a weird, tough guy strategy that's backfiring. Go back in time. This is after Donald Trump says his dad was in on the Kennedy assassination. And for good measure, Trump also calls his wife dogface.
This morning, Donald Trump went on national television and attacked my father. Donald Trump alleges that my dad was involved in assassinating JFK. This man is a pathological liar. He doesn't know the difference between truth and lies. He lies practically every word that comes out of his mouth. The man cannot tell the truth, but he combines it with being a narcissist. Listen, Donald Trump is a serial philanderer, and he boasts about it. This is not a secret. He's proud of being a serial philanderer. The man is utterly amoral. Morality does not exist for him. Donald will betray his supporters on every issue. If you care about immigration, Donald is laughing at you. And he's telling the moneyed elites he doesn't believe what he's saying. He's not going to build a wall. That's what he told the New York Times. He will betray you on every issue across the board.
Yeah. Yeah. And get away with it. Yes, Ted. Yes. Spot on, Ted. Good job, Raphael. Okay, he set it up nicely. I don't even think that was him being a tough guy. Him being a tough guy really started after he was a total jackass on this Cancun thing. I mean, I don't know what light came on in his head and said, you know what? They're laughing at me. I'm a joke. I'm a nightly joke. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it some more. I'm going to have people make fun of me more. So here we go. Why is this coming up now? I'll tell you why it's coming up now. It's like part 300 in the Ted Cruz I'm a Jackass tour on social media, and it is strategic. I'm not saying this because I'm just ripping Ted Cruz, which is easy to do. I'm saying this because I believe this is actually a strategy, and it is bizarre to me. You would tell one of your kids to shut up, wouldn't you? You would say, stop going there. Stop it. If you're sad that they're making fun of you, stop fighting with them. Correct? He's doing just the opposite. I'm reading from the Houston Chronicle now. I have my $6 glasses. Senator Ted Cruz criticized the U.S. military for being, quote, emasculated compared to the Russian military. See my point? Why go here? You can write the joke right now, and the joke is coming. See, emasculated. You think Ted Cruz should go there? If he ran that by you in the office and said, "Listen, I'm going to go to Twitter today, and I'm going off on some stuff, and I'm going to use emasculated." Don't you think you'd say, "Raphael, don't do that, man. Don't walk into that joke. Don't do it. Let's lay low today." Nope, he did just the opposite. The senator retweeted a video with an apparent ad for the Russian military showing male soldiers training, suiting up, jumping out of an airplane, and loading a gun. The ad was followed by a cartoon ad for the U.S. military about Army Corporal Emma Malone Lord, who says in the video she was raised by two moms. So Ted, I guess, sitting around, waiting for his chance to jump that day into social media, saw this ad circulating, saw this going on Twitter, and he thought, man, this is a perfect time for me to act like a badass. Even though no one thinks I am. I'm going in. He tweets, perhaps a woke, emasculated military is not the best idea. Do you want to visit Ted Cruz's toughness? Do we? Do you really want to, or did you really want to go there, Ted? Because you didn't think this was going to come back. You want to talk about emasculated? Your wife was called Dogface. Okay, man. No one could have shoved you to the ground harder than what Donald Trump did to you every day. And what was your answer for that tough guy, Mr. Josie Wales? What did you do? You kiss his ass. Ted, you can't act tough and then not be tough. So he's all in. Here he goes. Let's revisit Ted, the tough guy. Now, I'm willing to bet, and this is a separate subject, the ad itself is weird, but then the military called out by Ted Cruz, you know, the ultimate military guy, right? I mean, if you think about throwing grenades and being a Navy SEAL, you think of Ted Cruz. What a badass Ted is. Look at his breasts. That man is tough. There is a strategy behind this, and I would assume that's the case for everything the military does, which is almost a side discussion by itself, which is kind of fascinating. But right now, we're focused on the shocking social media I'm a badass tour of Ted Cruz. You want to know how much, if we want to revisit it, you know, Ted, you're a baby is not new. It's not new at all. Famous series of ads by director Richard Linklater. Guess what? We have history of somebody pointing out, Ted, you're a punk.
Somebody left something on my door the other day. It said, Ted Cruz, toughest Texas. I mean, come on. If somebody called my wife a dog and said my daddy was in on the Kennedy assassination, I wouldn't be kissing their ass. You stick a finger in their chest and give them a few choice words. Or you drag their ass out by the woodshed and kick their ass, Ted. Come on.
Anyway.
It's not new. Ted. I mean, I don't know how you rebrand yourself as tough when you're never tough. It's tough to rebrand yourself and taking on woke when you're full of an Ivy League education and you have breasts. You can't do it, man. Okay, so there's that part of, and you can weigh in. I mean, have at it. I don't. It's entertaining to watch. Understand about Ted Cruz, Raphael. He's not doing this because he's addicted like Trump. Here's where I think there is a difference. And this is why I say with Ted, it's strategic. He's not a buffoon. He's not a moron. I don't even think he's addicted to social media. I think this is intentional. Donald Trump wakes up like a lot. Donald Trump is a 14-year-old high school girl. He can't live without it. Look at me, talk to me, make me feel good. I don't think Ted Cruz is that guy. You can disagree. This is in his own mind, because I don't know anybody that would recommend doing this. I mean, look, if you ever wanted to be tough, if you want to roll out the tough guy thing, you kind of have to talk trash on Trump. You can't let him get away with that, as the ad says. But now he kisses Trump's ass. So you kind of lost your tough card. So here's why I think it is strategic, where he just sits around and looks for a chance to start a fight. This is what got him into it now. And I'm sure he's going to have another 3 issues this week where he looks for a chance to say, aha, woke, you're a baby. You punk. He thinks he's the good player in dodgeball when he's really the loser in dodgeball that's going to get hit in the face. He acts like he's the guy picked first for dodgeball, and nobody really wants him on his team. So he calls out this military ad. He found it circulating out there. I don't know how or why, but it's a thing, and it is kind of comical, and I could see how somebody would end up making fun of it.
Что ты знаешь о себе? На что ты способен? Вопросы могут остаться без ответов, но разве ты сможешь познать себя? Познать границы своих возможностей? К черту границы, а без боя нет победы. Но на самом деле, главный враг – это задача выследить врага, догнать его, превзойти, стать лучше, чем он.
It begins in California, with a little girl raised by two moms. I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age. To marry my other mom. With such powerful role models, I finished high school at the top of my class. And after meeting with an Army recruiter, I found it. A way to prove my inner strength. I'm U.S. Army Corporal Emma Malone Lord, and I answered my calling.
Okay. Now, I'm willing to give the military enough credit. I've taught advertising for a long time, and I will tell you the fundamental rule is a business without a plan is doomed to fail. I taught a strategy class for a long time. You don't just throw it up against the wall and hope it sticks. I'm giving them enough credit that this ad campaign that's on TikTok and Ted Cruz, look, there are plenty of people who go all testosterone and want to make fun of this. I get it. Ted Cruz has low T, I think. But he also knows there had to be strategy behind this. And sure enough, there is. And embarrassingly, the military has now had to answer for this. But they went to TikTok for a very particular reason. Okay? So sure enough, the military does have a strategy behind this. And you can make fun of it all you want. You're tougher than Ted Cruz. Ted can't make fun of anything and act like a tough guy. I don't understand why. Well, I'll stop. I don't get it. So here's the deal. The military says, when called out about this, and I think this is kind of fascinating by itself, is that they actually do have a strategy. And it makes sense. I mean, I would assume, I'm assuming here, again, I'm assuming strategy. I believe in strategy. And I assume the military right now is battling probably a brain drain. In other words, they're competing against tech companies to get the people they need. Just like every industry, they're probably chasing her, educated young woman. They need her. They don't need her because Ted is acting like, being the pretend tough guy that he is. They need her for other reasons than climbing walls. And I bet you they're in a very competitive period right now where they're trying to win people over who are educated. And I would also assume that during a very good economy, recruiting gets tougher than usual. So they're at a period where they have to be strategic, where they have to be different. Sure enough, they answered for it. Not that it matters for Ted. Research tells us, this is Major General Alex Fink, the chief of Army Enterprise Marketing. He says this, research tells us that young people today see the Army as a distant star, a place requiring a nearly superhuman level of discipline with little relevance to their daily lives. They call this strategy the calling. Okay? Again, they're not chasing the Russian dude. And for Ted Cruz to even go there, of course, it's getting him called out. Of course. But the calling shatters these misperceptions by showing that soldiers are like all of us, real people with hopes, dreams, fears, aspirations, families, friends, and obstacles to overcome. In other words, they try to relate the military experience to the average person on TikTok, to the 19-year-old on TikTok. Why? Because they need her. They need to recruit people, and they have a strategy. But that's not going to stop Ted Cruz from going all testosterone. You get my point. What is he doing, and where does this take him?
Listen at JeffWardShow.com.